Describe a family business you know. You should say what the business is, how you know it, who the customers are, and how you like it. Well, my friend Albert's family runs a pottery workshop. I visited several years ago and learned quite a lot about their family business. The first business line is making dishes, bowls, and so on, and they use molds to make a lot of product. You may think it was easy, but actually it was difficult. A big problem was about the clay. When placed in the air, it's dried a little bit, so they have to add water from time to time to keep it sticky. But sometimes, if they add too much water, the clay would become useless, so they need to be extremely careful. The other business line is more for art. Art created by hand and seldom would artisan employ any mold in this segment. They have many different skills in making art pottery. Albert's father hopes to create unique clay pieces, which means each of their art would be one of a kind and can be sold with a high price to the rich. So the worker in the workshop uses different skills in making pottery. I once saw them started off with a small amount of clay and their fingers to press it, making all kinds of shape. That's really impressive. Anyway, this family business is really interesting and I believe they can be even more successful.
All right, so here is another family business response. Let's have a listen.
Describe a family business you know. You should say what the business is,
I think she's missing a word there. What business it is.
how you know it, who the customers are, and how you like it.
Hmm.
Well, my friend Albert's family runs a pottery workshop.
Okay, if you're going to talk about businesses, you should be using the word runs, right?
I visited several years ago and learned quite a lot about their family business.
Wait, what? I learned quite.
Quite a lot about their
Okay, I'm not sure why there's an off there. I learned quite a lot about their family business. All right.
family business.
Mm-hmm.
The first business line is making
Oh, I do like the intonation. The first business line. See, our voice goes up there. The first business line. Hmm.
dishes.
But then I'm not sure if she actually said business. It was a guess. I'm not sure.
A lot about their family business. The first business line is
Okay, maybe yeah. I'm not sure. She didn't. If it's business, she didn't pronounce it very clearly. But I'm guessing it's business because the next word is line, so it's got to be business line, right?
making dishes, bowls, and so on. And they use molds to make a lot of
And the way she pronounces molds is a little bit off. It sounds like modes, but it must be molds because if you're gonna make pottery and things, then you gotta use molds, right?
use molds to make a lot of products.
Why is there no plural here? She says a lot of, or she doesn't say a lot of. She say a lot of. It should be a lot of, and then plural products.
You may think it was easy,
I don't know why she's going to the past tense here, because it's a business, right? So they make these things all the time. So stick to the present tense.
but actually it was difficult. A big problem was about the clay.
The problem is not about the clay. A big problem is the clay. Is the clay.
When placed in the air, it's
Okay, so she has some trouble distinguishing between air and ear. Air, ear.
dried a little bit.
Okay, now to be honest, I'm not. Maybe she's talking about something that happened in the past because she's using the past tense throughout this. I think she should be using the present tense, but I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, uh, yeah, it should be present tense. But okay, regardless, let's imagine this happened in the past. It's finished, so past tense is acceptable. This should be when placed in the air. It dried out a bit because dried here is a verb, so we don't need the be verb. In the air, it dried a little bit. Or if you're going to use the present tense, it's going to be it dries a little bit.
about the clay. When placed in the air, it's dried a little bit, so they have to add water from time to
See, now she's back to the present tense.
time to keep it sticky.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes if they add too much water, the
Okay, I do like the pronunciation. Even though she mispronounces a couple of words, I do like the way that she talks in general. She uses a lot of features very well, much better than the previous person that we just saw reading. The intonation, the stress, the chunking, very good.
clay would become useless. So they need
But then, yeah, see, the way she does pronounce words with a bit of an accent, like here on useless, but still.
to be extremely careful. The other business line is more for art. Art crafted by hand and seldom would artisan employ any mold in
Okay, so this hesitation before saying artisan tells me that this is not a word that she's really comfortable using. That's why there was that pause between before artisan. And in the test, if you do that, the examiner is going to notice that.
artisan
Oh, I missed it. Now let's go back.
would artisan employ any mold in this segment.
Actually, I can't even remember what she was trying to say. What was she saying here? Art crafted by hand, and seldom would artisan employ any mold in the segment. Okay, I don't know what the sentence means. Means. She's talking about the second business line, right? Okay, the other business line is more for art. All right, that's fine. Art crafted by hand. Okay, so handmade art. Okay. And seldom would artisans employ any mold in this segment. What is the segment? Does the segment mean the business line? Okay, it's not really clear. Okay, so the artisans don't use mold in this business line?
Artisan employ any mold in this segment.
Oh, I forgot. This should be plural, right? Or there should be an article. Artisans are accountable. So either put an article there or add an S at the end.
They have many different skills in making art pottery.
I'm a little bit confused about why this sentence is here. They have many different skills in making art pottery. It's not very well connected to the previous sentence, and it's not well connected to the next sentence. Albert's father. The sentence just kind of hangs between these two ideas. Not very well connected.
Art pottery. Albert's father hopes to create unique clay pieces, which means each of their art would be one of a kind.
Okay, art is not countable. You can't say each of their art. So each of their pieces of art. Pieces of art. But the one of a kind, that's good.
And can be sold with a high price to the rich.
Can be sold at a high price. At a high price to the rich. All right.
So the worker in the workshop uses
Is there only one worker? Really?
different skills in making pottery.
But she already said that, right? This sentence here that was just in the middle of nowhere. They have many different skills, and then here she goes back to they have many different skills. So why? If here you're going to talk about the skills, then don't throw that other sentence there in the middle of nothing.
In the workshop uses different skills in making pottery.
Mm-hmm.
I once saw them started off with a small
I once saw them V-I-N-G. I once saw them starting off.
started off with a small amount of clay and their fingers to press it.
They started off with a small amount of clay and their fingers. But the one is material, the other one is a tool. Maybe she means they started off with a small amount of clay and used their fingers to press it.
Making all kinds of shape.
Shapes are countable, so making all kinds of shapes. But actually, this clause here is pretty good because the people, let's see here, the workers, it's the same subject, right? But she doesn't repeat it. She doesn't say the workers made all kinds of shapes. She dropped the workers and turned this into a gerund, making, because it's the two actions, the using the fingers and the making the shapes is done by the same people at the same time. So we can drop that and use this clause. We can drop the person here. We don't need that in the subject position.
More amount of clay and their fingers to press it, making all kinds of shape. That's really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this family business is really interesting and I believe they can be even more successful.
Just one thing, they can be even more successful. Just add in the future. In the future. I don't know. I do like this response. I'm not sure why. It's a solid 6, I'd say. But I do like the response. It sounded quite original. It didn't sound like she was trying to copy anyone else. So I do like the originality. Even though she might not get a very high score for this, I do like it.